Let me ask you a tough question. How often do you feel like you're working harder and harder, but the money never seems to catch up? If you're in a service-based industry, such as cleaning, HVAC, pest control, maybe even health and wellness, like massage therapy, personal trainer, in a creative field, like a photographer, designer, or even as professional services as a consultant, you know the grind. Constant hustle for the next client, cash flow that feels unpredictable, and growth that always just seems out of reach. What if I told you there's a way to flip that script, where your very first 30 days with a customer could generate more profit than it cost you to win them? That's the secret behind Alex Hormozi's brand new book, 100 Million Money Models. Stick with me until the end because I'm going to show you exactly how this works for service businesses like ours and why the next client you land could become your most profitable yet. So let's get into it. Why does this matter for service-based industries? Because most small businesses fail not from lack of ideas or even hard work, but it's a lack of cash flow. And Hormozi's framework solves this by teaching us make more profit from a customer in that first 30 days than it costs to get them and serve them. What does that mean? We're going to break that down here in this video. So first of all, the money model is in 3 stages, and we'll get a little bit more into it a little bit later. But basically, stage 1 is you got to get the cash, that initial attraction offer. This is your entry-level, irresistible offer, which I think a lot of us service industry businesses do very well. Get that discounted first clean, maybe first free HVAC check, or just a free trial of some sort that we just get people in the door. The next stage in the model is to get more cash. And this is where we have our upsells and downsells after we get them initially into the door. So these are little add-ons that we can add on to our services. So maybe your basic entry-level thing is just A, but once they're there, you can offer, well, we also have B, C, and D, and you can create that so you can do it in one bundle, or you can downsell it so just into simpler. Next is just to get the most cash continually over time. This is where you get that recurring subscription style revenue, monthly cleaning services, quarterly HVAC, monthly content creation, whatever your industry may be. More specifically, let's talk about those 4 offer types. And I want you to think about and reflect where your offer is, and maybe if you can generate some other offers to help maximize your money model. So first is the attraction offer. As I mentioned before, this is what gets people in the door. That is that 50% discount. This is the maybe a buy one, get one free. Maybe it's like a 30-minute free consultation. All those type of things are your initial offers. And they can still have a small value to it, but maybe it's the value of it might be a little bit less than what it actually costs to get them, but we want to get them in the door. They're an irresistible best attraction offer. Next is the upsell, because once they're there, then we need to add things to them to enhance their first purchase or that first purchase within 30 days. I think what we can do as service-based industries, taken from this, is that sometimes we might get them in that first time, in that first 7 days, but then we need to follow up with them pretty quick, either at the end of that first session or within that first week or 2, so that we can get that upsell so we're in that 30-day time frame. So it doesn't have to be necessarily right when they show up, but maybe right after they get that first service. So maybe you did a consultation call as a coach, you did it, it's very basic, maybe it was at very low cost, free, but then you go like, well, I do offer this, can we do this, and let's set something up for next. Next is the downsell. So you get that upsell, and you always want to put the upsell first. You don't want to go low, you want to start high. For example, I have an offer, it's going to cost $1,000 to do this service, and say after some objections, like, you know what, I can't do that, I don't know what to do, so some type of objection. Well, then you need to shift gears into a downsell. For example, you can make it into a payment plan. Well, what if we did $100 a month for the next 10 months? Was that something that you would consider? Or maybe something like, well, we have another version of this $1,000 service. for only $300, but it doesn't include this, that, or this. So it still has relative value to that. A lot of different things that you can do with that upsell. There's also price anchoring that you can do both ways to help with that. But again, you always want to have another option to handle any objection that they might have to your core offer or to your upsell. If you can create a downsell for your offers, then again, you're helping increase cash flow initially in those first 30 days. And then lastly is that continuity. We mentioned it before, that's your monthly service. And there's a lot of ways you can structure that. For example, you can say, well, my monthly services are $100 every week, every month, every 2 weeks, whatever it may be, every quarter. Or you can actually structure it a little bit differently. So I do $100 a month, but if you pay $1,000 upfront right now for 12 months, you can get the last 2 months free. Or you can even structure it where you get the first 2 months free. There's a lot of ways you can structure that money model to help move cash forward and earlier into the business. Let's talk about simplicity, the rules of simplicity. As you heard, your mind may be thinking, oh, I could do this, that, this offer, downsell, maybe I need to offer all these different things. First of all, do not do that. First, you'll want to start with one really great offer. Structure it so it is the core of your offer and everything else is just an addition to that. So with that, you can create an upsell next, or then a downsell, or then continuity based off the one core offer. Again, do not overcomplicate this and take the time to really develop a great core offer. Find 100 ways to sell one thing opposed to trying to sell 100 different things. So let's talk about this in actual numbers, and it's the power of compounding. So say you had a 10% increase in customer volume, or maybe you had a 10% increase in the amount of time that you got payment. So instead of getting paid in 30 days, you got paid in 15 days. There's a whole bunch of examples. And then also think about, what if you had a 10% increase in the overall lifetime value of that client? Because all these little things have massive exponential growth. So even just making a simple little tweak here and there in your offers or your structure can make huge differences down the road. So specifically for service-based industries, as I mentioned, cleaning, landscaping, HVAC, pest control, personal coaching, health and wellness, creatives of all sorts, and business coaches and professional service, this model fits any of us. And I want you to focus on that front end, first irresistible offer. You want to create that core offer, but then you also want to get that initial attraction offer to be irresistible, that they just have to do it, at least try it. And then from that attraction offer, think about how you can make a smooth transition to the upsell. Now, again, this does not have to be immediately after they come in that front door, but maybe like that next day or a week after you did that initial service, then you come back with the upsell offer if you did a great job with your service, which I assume you did. You want to make them obvious, you want to be bold, you want to be confident with it, but you don't want to be pushy with that upsell. Because if they say no, they have too many objections, then you want to have that downsell. Lastly is trying to build a continuity program that has predictable cash flow for your business. As service-based businesses, this is really easy for us to do because in my case, everybody needs bookkeeping on a monthly basis. We need monthly cleaning services. We need a continuous coaching. If you're a content creator, then maybe a continuous work every month. There's a lot of ways to do this within our industries. So think about how you can create a continuity program for your industry. My closing thought with all of this is cash flow isn't just numbers. It really is the oxygen of your business. Remember, over 80% of small businesses fail because of cash flow. This is the number one thing. So take the time to really master and learn the skill of your money model. The faster you master your offers, the faster you remove cash flow as a growth constraint. At the end of the day, building a business isn't just about making sales. It's about creating systems that give you profit, freedom, and peace of mind. If you found this helpful, please make sure to hit subscribe so you don't miss more strategies to help you grow smarter and not harder. I'm Dr. Bryan Raya, DBR Bookkeeping. Let's start doing business right.